Now friends, this is a collection of books that I have, and what an awesome selection. Really, they catalogue a real history of horology at the absolute highest level. And over the coming weeks, I'm going to dip into these books and really go through them, show you some of the amazing timepieces and some of the astronomical prices that some of these can achieve. So if you really desire and lust after these, then be sure to stay tuned for these further reviews.
Hello friends, welcome to the platform that is Stuff Station 1. Your only platform to see the best gear reviews from my collection.
Today I have a real treat for you. I've got the book called The World's Most Expensive Watches by Ariel Adams. Ariel Adams, he writes a blog, and he also has a really successful YouTube channel where he reviews lots of different mechanical watches, bottom end of the price range, all the way to sort of the higher end. So I do urge you to actually watch that channel. I'll leave details in the description. Now, the book itself is an absolute behemoth of a book, okay? It probably weighs around 6 kg, and it's just sumptuously packaged, really. If we have a look at the back, okay, we can see some really good photography there of the internal workings of quite a complicated watch movement by the looks of it. This outer sleeve I really like. You can take it out. I'm going to struggle a bit, so I'm going to put it down. Okay, so the outer box itself, okay, really nice sort of thick card here, and we can see the thickness of it, okay, to actually hold the watch in place. All right, so I just set that to one side. Now, the photography itself is the same on the front of the book here. What I really like about the book is on the front box, as well as the actual book itself, matte sort of finish on the white areas, but the actual images themselves are like really high gloss. Let me see if I can show you what I mean. Hopefully the camera picks it up, okay? But it really lends itself quite nicely in good light when you look at the actual timepieces in detail. So let's just dip through it. I have bookmarked them, okay? And what is quite nice about it is the way in which this book sort of talks about each timepiece. Now, what it does, it breaks things down into the complications and the mechanical features, which is very nice. But at the same time, what it also does, it features the precious materials. So it talks about the precious materials and the artistic and the artisanal nature of the actual making of some of these pieces. Also, it talks about the historical importance and the provenance behind some of these sort of high price fetching pieces. So it's quite nice that every single watch that's featured is broken down in that way. Now, the first watch that I have here is the Vianney Altair, the Deep Space Tourbillon, okay? And what I like about this piece, it's, you know, for the time that it sort of came out, it's actually really quite a futuristic looking piece. So it has the tourbillon set in there and quite a different way of actually telling the time. And I love the actual case shape along with the actual strap here as well. So a really nice piece, nice photography again here. If we go, one of the things that the book does particularly well is are the actual center spread pages, and this one I absolutely love. It's of the Panerai equation of time, and you know, you get to see that gorgeous sandwich dial that Panerai is really sort of famed for, and you know, just offsetted by the actual colors. Really nice, really gorgeous. If we have a look here, so obviously the price is going up. The Vianney Altair was what, $200,000. We're now up to $250,000. So it's a jewelry machine, the HM3 by MB&F, Maximil Buser and Friends. And here we can see the sheer intricacy that's gone into the gem setting to actually create this owl here, okay? So really quite sort of cute, quite playful piece here, but ultimately very expensive. I love this one, okay? So this is the Cabestan winch, I believe it is. Yeah, so the Cabestan winch tourbillon. Okay, so $275,000. Okay, so we've got like a winch chain or a fusee system here, and then on this macro shot we can see at a very fine level the sheer detail of some of these parts. Okay, so an amazing piece. This one I really like because of the focus on metals here. Now this is the Romain Jerome, priced at just over $300,000. It's called the Titanic DNA, and they were actually quite famed for extracting some of the metal from the actual Titanic shipwreck, and they managed to meld it and fuse it into their watch cases. The other thing that I like, obviously we've got a precious metal here, so we've got a gold here, and how they sort of merge that with the use of rubber as well is really nice. And look at that sort of aged look that they've actually managed to achieve there. This one is a David, okay, and we can see a real close-up there of again a fusee chain system, and just the sheer intricacy that's gone into this particular piece. Quite a bold piece, you've got a solid gold case, okay, and a lot of work has actually then gone into that. I mean, look at how highly polished that looks. This one I like. This is the Graham Tourbillon, and it's nice because it's quite unlike Graham, really. Graham does, those quite large, oversized chronofighter watches. And what we have here, the dial actually features or the tourbillon is hidden under a cage, and the design is actually inspired by early pocket watch movements. And basically, it serves thematically, it serves as the sun. So around it are the rotations of three heavenly bodies. So you've got the Earth, okay, with its moon, and then you've got Mars here, which has been created out of this ruby here. So again, a really nice piece there. $330,000, quite classic looking as well at the same time, quite unlike Graham, really. So if we flip forward, so we have Philippe Dufour Grand Sonnerie, $437,000 here for a really simple looking watch, but this is a Grand Sonnerie. So the feature of this is that it's a timepiece that automatically chimes out the hours, the quarters, and minutes each 15 minutes. Okay, so a really nice piece, very classic dial. You've got the railroad tracking over here, and overall, quite a classic looking piece, but one that, has an astronomical value to it. But the amount of finishing that has gone in there, I mean, look at that. You truly have to appreciate that. If we move forward, one of my favorites, the Jacques Droz, okay, the Charming Bird Automaton. So this is an automaton. It's like a mechanical little bird that pops up and it actually chimes, okay? He chirps and he tweets. Look at the actual case design here with this almost bubble of a sapphire orb over the actual bird itself. And I think this took sort of absolute years to actually develop. And here it is in its sort of finality, £500,000 here. I wonder how many houses you could actually buy for that in some parts of Europe and anywhere in the world for that matter. One thing I don't like about the book is occasionally you do get pages where the image quality isn't great. I mean, if you go at a closer level, you do get some sort of pixelation in the picture. So that's not great on some of the image, but the vast majority is actually not too bad. Here we have the Christophe Claret, okay? So Christophe Claret, an absolute master sort of watchmaker of the modern time. And really when other watch brands want to develop their own grand complications, and in particular, repeating or sort of minute repeating watches, then they will actually go to Christophe Claret. And then but here we can see in his own company's guise here, so 525,000 for Westminster Gong watch that he has produced here, and I quite like it. But it's quite modern use of colors, grey with the blue, with the actual I believe that to be a platinum case there. So a really nice piece. I chose the Harry Winston as well. You're looking at $622,000. The reason why I chose this, I chose it because of the case shape. Quite a nice sort of geometric shape design. Okay, quite like this sort of wedge shape that's been built here. And what's nice is the actual power reserve indicator. Now, usually the power reserve indicator, you will have, a hand or a needle, or you will have a dial that moves. But in this case, we can see that the dial that actually moves has colored gemstones. Okay, so we're looking into, low power reserve, high power reserve, that's denoted by the use of the color of that particular gemstone. So a really nice piece there. Quite nice case design, almost very similar to MB&F's case designs and straps.
Friends, are you enjoying the video so far? If so, please consider liking and subscribing. And please let me know if there's anything I can improve for your viewing content.
Now here we have Grubel Forsey, and they have the invention piece. What I really like about Grubel Forsey is their case shapes and how they will actually alter and change the actual exterior of the case shape to accommodate some of these complications. And I think they do it quite classically at the same time. And again, what I like about Grubel Forsey as a brand is how they meld the traditional with the modern, and they do it so well, and it just fuses together really, really well. And here we're talking into, $750,000 here. Okay, so an amazing piece. I chose the Roger Dubuis because not only because of its value, okay, over $1 million, shall I say, but because of the complex architecture of the actual case itself. Now, watches around this price range, even at the lower price range that's featured within this book, the pricing is totally ridiculous, and for many of us, totally unachievable. The reason why I like these books, and the reason why I like to look at these, is the appreciation of the engineering sort of beauty that's sort of gone into these pieces. It can be $1 million, $2 million, even going up to, 10, 20 million. But it's the appreciation of the art and the craft that has gone into this that I really love. One of my other top favorite brands, Erlanger & Zerner. So we've got the Grand Complication, so nearly touching on 2 million here. And what I love about Erlanger & Zerner is how they manage to make a dial look so legible with all of the complications. We're talking a grand complication. I'm not going to go into it in great detail, but if you want to, you can pause the video at some stage and just try and work out all the different complications that they have here. Okay, we've got the slider here, so that's obviously suggesting a repeater as well. So, but look how legible that dial is, and almost quite classical as well at the same time. So an absolute favorite of mine. If we move forward a little bit more, okay, so we're getting into Patek Philippe territory here. Now, this is a very unique piece. The reason being, Patek, now I don't think it does any sort of one-off pieces, but this one was made especially for a gentleman by the name of J.B. Champion, a very prolific watch collector, I believe, from the US, and he commissioned Patek to make this for him. And as a result of that, it's somewhat astronomical now in its value, just purely because Patek no longer sort of makes these one-off commission pieces, as far as I'm aware. I'm sure if you went to them with a huge bag of money, the bag that they're more than sort of used to, then they probably would fix you up with something. And then finally, a brand that gets a lot of hate, okay? Not a brand that, I would wear myself, but I've chosen this just purely because of the actual gem setting. Look at how these stones have been integrated into the actual bracelet. Look at this detailing, okay, where the stones have been set in. Look how precise that is. All right, if we were to look if we were to look at that at a macro level rather, you know, I wonder how many sort of microns this is out by as a tolerance. You know, so it's just amazing how the gem setters have done the job here. And here we can see a close up. A truly unique piece, okay, probably not something that everyone would wear, okay, and at 5 million, you know, perhaps, you know, people would think twice about wearing it. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this quick review. There's going to be more book reviews of books that feature quite sort of lavish, very expensive, very artisanally made and crafted watches. So do please look out for those.